Okay, guys, breaking news in my community. We have a missing juvenile, a runaway. I'm not going to get into the personal history here, but the parents are Christians. They're sober. They're doing everything they can. I just offered to pay $500 out of my very meager savings after paying almost $700 for my dog today. Cash reward to help find this child. Here's my text with the mother. This is not a scam. I know there's a lot going on. If you would like to donate to that, feel free. If you do not enjoy the rest of the video, it's very interesting video. I'm just saying, we have to find this child. We'll start with $500 and we'll see if somebody will give him up. If not, if you guys can row in the boat, we'll lift it. We'll keep lifting it until we bring this child home safe. This is bad, folks. This is where I live. You can't go missing like that. Not at night. Not out here. I've done videos on it. It's not good.
King's protest that was supposed to take place in Hollywood, Florida, which is over in Broward County. Now, people might say, oh, well, that's Florida. However, I would like to note Broward County is not only one of the most populous counties in the state of Florida, but also notoriously a blue county, right? Even in DeSantis, his landslide, still Broward County went blue. And as you can see, bad news for them. Apparently, the Hollywood, Florida No Kings protest was canceled due to a lack of participation.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Starky Formstead. So my name is Samantha, and sometimes God won't let me go to bed because I just have got to share something with you. So I ran across a video from this guy. I'll put his name and his content in the description of the video. But it was hilarious because he is showing you proof that some of the No Kings protests were actually canceled because they couldn't get enough participation. They had to combine them. And B, he is showing you they drug the elderly out of nursing homes, folks. Now, I know that America kind of lost its way with Joe Biden, and you saw people like Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters. Like, these people really need to retire. There needs to be an age limit, especially Congress. Because when you get to a certain age, you just seriously slow down. Look, my mom is 83. My dad's fixing to be 84. And you cannot argue that. There comes a point in time that you flat out slow down. So with no more chattering from me, let's watch the elderly be yanked out of their nursing home in June across America to go to No Kings protest.
Yep, I got ya. Hello. Oh, yeah. There's a protest out here.
This is the best their party has to offer, by the way, guys. Look at that. Utterly hilarious. Look how many are deploying. Look at that. So this, when they say, oh, look how many people we pulled, guys, gigantic crowd. This is exactly who we're talking about. And truly, I think, honestly, it's got to be a sad thing to witness to a large degree, because what you're witnessing, much like the Joe Biden presidency itself, is pure elder abuse, because you have people...
Now, here's why it bothers me so much that MK Ultra is still going on in America. You've got elderly people who, a lot of these people are medicated, okay? They give them Xanax. They give them Valium for anxiety and pain. A lot of them are on pain medications. They're on antidepressants. That's a new big thing for geriatric patients. But they're watching things like MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, and they're hearing the rhetoric that comes from the left. They're going to take your Social Security. You're going to lose your nursing home privileges. And it's terrifying, these old people. This is cruel. It is a mental abuse. And we need to stop it, America. At this point, there needs to be laws put in place that when you've got people lying, point blank lying, they should be held accountable, especially senators and congresspeople. People like Tim Walz. that encourage what we've seen across this country to happen. Because the truth is this: seniors are not losing their Social Security or their benefits, and neither are y'all. You're not losing your food stamps, people. Quit. But if you're an illegal alien, good chance you're losing them. And why is that? Because they're bankrupting us. You would get an increase in your benefits if we didn't have to keep supporting third world immigrants. You can't have it both ways. There's not enough money. So you're going to have to make a choice. You or them.
They say they want the criminals out, but then they shelter them in the sanctuary cities. And they say they're not voting, but then anytime you try to pass voter ID, they're like, oh, no, you can't. It's racist. And then they say, oh, well, these people aren't here to take American jobs. And they're like, oh, you can't deport them. Who's going to wash my lettuce?
Because basically what's happening in America is economic terrorism. I'm not joking. I'm not making up terms. I'm being dead serious. Supply and demand. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. So if you've got too many people in the workforce, what's going to happen? Wages stagnate. People get treated badly, and they have no way to fight back, because if they complain, they lose their job. It's basic slavery.
Trump has to target the cities because that's where they're clustered. But he also has to go after the job sites because that's going to get a lot of attention.
Those people that are in California, Oregon, the state of Washington, New York, Minneapolis, y'all are so far removed from reality. All of you think that we've got a Mexican cutting our grass, that we've got a Filipino taking care of our grandmother, that we've got a housekeeper and a babysitter that can barely speak English. I don't know what world you live in, but that is not the reality for 90% of Americans.
And it's going to make bosses not want to hire illegals. They just did a raid.
So there was a huge ICE raid in Nebraska. They cleaned out a meat packaging center. As soon as they took away all the illegals, the owner goes, we might have to shut down. Why? Because now you have to pay people actually a salary. But as soon as they opened it up for jobs, do you know what happens? They had more Americans apply for jobs than they had jobs to fill. So don't give me the rhetoric that Americans won't do these jobs. We always have. Immigrants didn't build America. Americans built America. And you aren't an immigrant. If you can trace your family back 200 years, you were settlers. They came to a country that almost nobody was here. And they created a beautiful, free country. And now the entire world wants to be a tick and suckle. There's not enough teats for everybody. Somebody's going hungry, and it ain't going to be me.
Remember during the pandemic, we used to do segments about how this was like a workers' market, and all of these wages were going up, and these companies couldn't find anybody, and like you could have your choice where you wanted to work and what benefits. You know what happened? Biden let in 20 million illegals, and it just dropped the wages.
I'm sick of watching my children sink underneath mounted debt trying to get educated. My son went into the Middle East to fight so he could have money to come back and buy a vehicle. Why? Because there are no jobs for our flipping kids.
The dirt. And it's like economic treason to do that.
So guys, look, we had our third Zoom tonight for Starky Formstead's Peace Summit. We are grouping people by state and by your region. And your region's going to consist of your time zone. So there'll be a regional leader that goes with all the states and then individual states. These people are grouping up. They're going to be sharing videos on basic health care, on how to fix and change a tire, how to can food, how to grow food, where to go in case of an emergency. They're going to teach lessons on things like the American Constitution and how do you report fraud and abuse. This is a good thing. We're trying to get you guys grouped up so that you're around more people and you can be like the liberals who don't have any problem getting people on Zooms. So look, even if you only have $1, that's all it takes for you to get on the newsletter and the Zooms. And if you can send more, we were asking 30, it would be a blessing. We don't get paid, folks, on YouTube. We don't get a penny. This is a way for us to stay above water and help you guys out. You don't have to be alone, friend. You can be amongst friends. You're welcome. We're inviting you. So I love you guys so much. I just wanted to show you that maybe geriatric politics needs to stop. When I saw all those old people, it just broke my stinking heart, man. I love you guys so much. Stay safe out there.